Hello, sound check. Mic test 1 2 1 2. Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Everything good, guys?
Yeah. Yep.
We good?
Sounds good.
Okay. If you can hear me, let's begin.
How do you hear? Turn the volume up.
Okay. Attention, 59 gamers. We are back with another installment of your favorite Dokkan Battle podcast called the Dokkan Battle Podcast. I'm your host, Toon Rami, and joining me this week is the international family guy himself, Talon.
Ohayou gozaimasu, minasan.
Part-time stand user and full-time Super Battle Road King, the Masked Ningen.
Yo, how's it going, everybody?
The homie who needs no introduction, Goresh.
What's going on, everybody?
Star of That 70s Show and second best Venom actor of all time, Nolar.
Hello, everyone.
Stellt euch dem schnellsten und mächtigen Speedrunner, Sunblade. And he's silent. Cool. Make sure you guys are locked in across all our social media. Why is the last person always silent? Okay. Make sure you guys are locked in across all social media platforms and connect with the 59G network. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube, join us on our new Discord and Facebook fan page. Also, we have a brand new Reddit, r/59gaming. Make sure to check that out as well. All the links are available everywhere, so make sure you get all of them. Log in, connect, do what you got to do. Stay in touch with us. Later on tonight, we will be live on Twitch for something we don't know yet, so make sure you guys are locked in. Without further ado, let's dive into episode 9, Reject MONKE, Return TOWA. So we'll start with, obviously, the main topic of this week, which is the Heroes collab. The banners are out. Everyone's been going crazy. Guaranteed features galore. People have been getting a lot of good units, and then some. Is this a must summon for the casual Dokkaner? Everyone just chime in.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's simple.
Feel free to talk about your summons. I was able to rainbow every single featured unit except for one final dupe on the Dark Masked King. So overall for me, this has been a very positive experience. Obviously, when you put enough stones into it, you're going to eventually probably get all of them. But I feel like there's so much more than just the fact that this is a fan. It really caters to the fan base, those who want to see things that they wouldn't typically see in the Dragon Ball IP. Seeing them all in Dokkan kind of validates them even more. So this overall experience of summoning for these types of banners for me is very positive, and especially since it's a guaranteed featured, I always have fun on these.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, if you just take a look at the structure of the banner, there's 10 featured, which is a lot. Typically, we only see 10 featured units during an LR banner, a Dokkan Fest LR banner. But I would say because 6 of the 10 are new, and they're all very good, and it's obviously guaranteed featured every single multi, you're not really going to get this type of value on like any other banner that comes out throughout the course of this year, and even throughout next year, I would say. So, and on top of that, there's no indication anywhere in the news that these guys are going to be added to the general pool after this. So, I mean, if you guys want to pull, this is the time to do it.
Absolutely. There's been, like you said, Goresh, there's absolutely no way. There's been no news or anything that these guys are going in the general pool. So while these guys might be Dokkan Fest or LRs or, anything like that, all these cards, I've been thoroughly impressed. Anything from the can we call it technically call it a Dokkan Fest Vegito? I mean, he's got his own event and everything.
He's an honorary Dokkan Fest.
He's an honor. Okay, we'll call him an honorary Dokkan Fest. Okay, so anything from the Vegito, obviously, was super good. I mean, if you guys have ever seen the Broly pictures that people have been posting on Twitter and everything, you see things like 4 million, plus plus for each super attack, and the dude can get up to 3 super attacks basically. So that's pretty crazy. Anything from the goddess TOWA, she's an amazing support, obviously. And, honestly, the two that I'm really surprised about and absolutely loving are the SSJ4 Gohan and the SSJ4 Bardock. No awakenings for those guys, but man, can those guys put out some numbers at just simply URs. I'm impressed with those guys, honestly. Like I've been thoroughly impressed with all the units.
I know you. Go ahead, Noah. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying just the one caveat I could say is if you're just a free-to-play player and you're trying to get the most value, the only real unit that gives you the most value, in my opinion, is TOWA, because she can be used on multiple teams and categories. Like, cool, Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, Broly, Bardock, and Gohan are great, but they're kind of confined for the most part to crossover and Giant Ape Power, right? And so if you're looking for the most value where you can use a unit consistently all the time throughout multiple teams, TOWA is probably it, because she's on Terrifying Conquerors, and then if you have Strength Cooler as your lead, you can cross over to Transformation Boost. So she can support that category too. You know, not really like under it, but like as a crossover in that sense. So, I mean, it's hard to tell free-to-play players like, yeah, you should go really deep for this, because a good chunk of those units are really only used on 2 teams. That's the one caveat I want to bring up. And, you know, I mean, I'd like to tell people go in, but if you said, no, I'm going to wait for more valuable units that are used on multiple teams all the time, I can see their argument.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that in terms of if you are free to play. But if you're someone who spends almost any amount, it's definitely worth summoning at least a little bit. I obviously went in pretty hard. I was talking about before when it was all announced that I was more hyped for this than some of the stuff that we know is coming probably before the end of the year. So I went in pretty deep. I managed to rainbow a couple of them. Only got 2 dupes in Vegito, but that means I get all his star abilities and can give him gold skill orbs. So I'm okay with that, because the big problem is unless they start making it more regular, or they do add some of them to the general pool, it's one of those things where if you don't get them now, you potentially have to wait a full year. And only having 1 dupe path unlocked on Vegito for a full year is not something I wanted in my life. So I've done quite a lot of summons on the banner, but yeah, all of the units are amazing. I think the biggest like turnaround in Dokkan history from actually seeing the list of the units and then to actually now having them in the game, I think Broly is actually my favorite of all of them. So he is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, look at that! People now trying to be nice to Broly after all the trash you guys were saying about him. Funny how you guys come around like that.
Yeah.
What's the best featured unit on this banner? Sunblade?
So yeah, first off, you guys can hear me, right?
We can hear you
Yeah,
now.
we can hear
I
you.
hear you.
Okay, yeah,
Sorry.
good. Okay, perfect. So as Nola said, like the Darkness Tower, or Freaky Tower as you call her,
Yeah,
has
buddy.
really big value. I like her the most, I believe, and Vegito would be second for me personally, because he's a must run on Giant Ape Power. Great unit. He supports everyone around him. But yeah, Darkness Tower or Darkness Tower, Goddess Tower is like the best unit from all of them. So for me personally, yeah.
Super freaky. What's the worst featured?
Deborah, right?
Yeah,
Probably Deborah. Yeah. I'm using quotations as worse here.
Yeah, there really is no bad unit on this banner, honestly. Take a look at the whole thing as a whole. Like, it's really not a banner where you can say, like, oh yeah, this guy's the worst by far. Like, there's no one like that on here. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Mira probably is the worst, but he's not bad.
I mean, I think you have to look at it in terms of value, right? How many categories can they be used on? How viable are they on those categories? So, I mean, you're just looking at hits. They're all pretty good. You know, I'm not going to say they're 10 out of 10s, but they're anywhere from like 7 to 8 out of 10s, which is still good value. But if you're looking at the worst units, like, well, the ones that have like 3 or 4 categories that might not take precedent of it over other Dokkan Fest or other units, that's where you'll be like, that's technically the quote unquote worst unit.
Yeah, but again, that's one of the reasons why I think this banner has so much value, because if we take a look at like any of the recent Dokkan Fest we've gotten, there's at least like 1, 2, or even 3 units that you could look at that are featured, and you're like, okay, yeah, I really don't want to pull this guy. Whereas on this banner, it's like the only time you really don't want to pull a unit is if you already have them maxed out. So that's why I think this banner has a lot of value on it.
Oh, it has a crazy amount of value. I mean, guaranteed featured unit at the end of the multi, where you can definitely have a good shot at getting multiple SSRs, and usually they're all featured and everything. It's definitely got good value. Again, I think if you're free to play, like Nolar and the others were saying about, hey, if you're free to play, obviously there are going to be banners that might have a little bit better value for you. But if you even if you just simply do the discount buying of the stones and everything like that, I think it's easily worth it. It is absolutely easily worth it, because you will not see these cards again until next year. That's just how it's going to be. So
given the Carnival Act kind of nature of this banner, it's kind of a once in a lifetime deal or once a year type deal with such good rates and good deals to go with it. Do you think this type of a thing should be a more recurring event in Dokkan where there are more collabs, maybe 2 or 3 staple collabs every single year that focus on just that IP and you get guaranteed features and other really, really good deals? Or should this be a more exclusive thing dedicated to just one property, one thing outside of the main Dragon Ball universe?
Carnival Act nature.
Carnival Act. It's like you show up, you do your thing, you bounce.
Huh. Okay.
You know that before?
Chris is like, okay.
Well, yeah, so it'd be interesting for them to do something like this more, but I think the fact that it's so limited is one of the things that makes it so not necessarily hype, because people would get hyped about it if it was for like something of a good subject, like good units, good characters or whatever. But what I mean is the sense that I feel like a lot of things, almost like LRs are now, I guess, is if they start doing them more often, they won't make them as good. Because they're not going to drop banners with like guaranteed featured where basically all of them you want like on a fairly regular basis, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think
But I mean,
yeah.
I was just going to say, I mean, the hero stuff, like I do think, like I said, I mentioned it briefly at the start, but like I think once a year is just not enough. But again, I don't think they're going to make it like, you know, we're not going to see something heroes related every couple of months or something. But even if it was like twice a year, because if you think about so like the Gohan and the Bardock, obviously they're amazing as they are. But if we look at some of the other units that got awakenings, no one who was new from the previous banner who didn't have an awakening got one this time. It's units from the one before that. So potentially, if they stick to the same schedule, we won't see awakenings for Gohan and Bardock for like 2 years.
Oh,
So-
which sucks because they're such good cards. Oh my god! Could you imagine if those guys had awakenings already right now? Like, oh,
Well, okay. So here's a question I have: do you guys think that they should even be releasing these units without awakenings, or should you think everybody that
I don't
releases
think they
just get
should.
awakenings?
I think they
I
should
wish
because
they would get awakenings just because, yeah.
I like that they do this. It kind of plants the seed for the future because like people then see, okay, this is what the heroes phenomenon is like. So makes me want to come back for next year because if they have something to invest in for next year, they'll have that kind of lingering in the back of their brain, you know, leading up to that next year when Dragon Ball Heroes comes back. It could lead to more sales potentially. I think it's a smart move. I mean, it sucks, you know, that some of these guys don't have awakenings, but I think it's a smart move to. It's kind of like the Halloween thing. Like first you get the unit, then a couple years down the road you get the EZA, or no, you get the TUR, then you get the EZA. Kind of the same thing with heroes.
Well, I mean, the one thing is, you look at the power creep today, right? And okay, so just remember the first awakened unit for Dragon Ball Heroes was Gotenks, and look how he stacks up today. So if these guys got awakenings right away, but then next year the power creep has accelerated exponentially to another point, are they even relevant anymore? So like, I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here because I obviously would like to have them get awakenings, but consider the fact that next year they might be even more powerful than Broly and Vegeta are right now, just because they waited a year to get that awakening. Yes, it sucks for us, but if you're thinking of long-term longevity of the game, that's actually a better way to approach it, at least in my opinion. So, I mean, the immediacy of me wanting to play with units now says, no, give them awakenings. But when I look at the output, I'm like, well, you know, look at the Dark Mask King, all these guys who got awakenings now. They're really good, but if they got awakenings, what, a year ago, 2 years ago, would they be as good as they are now? So there's that argument.
Yeah, that is true. Plus, I guess the good thing is the fact that they are even just as not TURs, normal URs, they are as good as they are. Because if they put them on as new units and they didn't have awakenings, and then in their normal UR versions they just weren't very good, and you want to run them, then obviously that would be completely pointless. So the fact that they're as good as they are, they quite easily stack up well enough with other units to be used on teams right now. And then, yeah, like you say, in the future, when they get awakenings, that can bring them back into relevance if they have gotten a little bit like overpowered since they first came out. So that is true.
I have some good news for global players, which also means bad news for JP players. So here's the deal. there's a guaranteed featured pull on each summon, right? If you're summoning a lot, you're probably bound to get a few units that overlap. Maybe you got a couple that you just don't need anymore. Well, good news for global players. We now have more units in the Great 8 power than JP did when they had their chain battle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So
Hashtag JP Shafted.
So yeah,
Hashtag
JP Shaft indeed. Global, you guys are going to be getting a couple extra units for that eventual chain battle. So yeah, hold on to those. Don't get rid of them. They could be useful coming up. And also, while we're talking about stuff coming up, what could we expect next year for Dragon Ball Heroes? Because obviously, after this 10th year anniversary, there's so much hype around Dragon Ball Heroes just in every circle of Dragon Ball fandom. What can we expect for next year as far as units, maybe some new mechanics, or I don't know, just new stuff in general? What are we going to be looking forward to for the next 365 days, waiting for the next Heroes collab?
Where the heck is God Trunks? I thought we'd see that for sure.
He's currently guest appearing on Genshin Impact. That's what.
Well, here's the
Yeah,
thing for me. For me, it's like this was the 10-year anniversary. So the fact that they chose not to do like an LR or a Dokkan Fest this year tells me they're probably never going to, unless they decide just randomly one other year to do it. It's like this is like supposed to be the biggest year for them. So I don't know if Dokkan was like, oh yeah, we'll just wait till next year to do one or whatever their thought process was, but I don't know. The future of like there potentially being a Dokkan Fest exclusive for Heroes is probably lower than I thought it would have been. So
Yeah, because that's the thing. They specifically asked in that survey if that was what we wanted to see, and then the next Heroes thing came around and they didn't do it. So did a load of people say no? Like,
Or it could be that, or they decided themselves that if they made this a Dokkan Fest exclusive, that means that they would have to feature the Heroes units more often, put them in the general pool potentially, and then have that Dokkan Fest exclusive come back more often. Like the way they did it now just means that it's going to be more scarce. It's going to be once a year at least, maybe twice a year, because I think the last time we had another Heroes thing was like in April when the World Mission came out and they were collabing with that. So I think they're specifically making this very limited. And if that's the case, then there's probably never going to be a Dokkan Fest exclusive unit. They'll do something like they did for Vegito. Well, they'll release the unit and then give them an event to play with and awaken some other units that way. But it won't be an exclusive to the banners or part of that pool. It'll be just the hero stuff. So, I mean, that's my mind.
I mean, Sunblade, Limit Breakers, maybe.
Yeah, I would love to see them, but yeah, Limit Breaker Vegito again for next year. I don't know, but the Super Saiyan 4s like Vegeta and Goku, they should be candidates for LRs in the future. I agree with Goresh. He said it multiple times. That they will probably never release Dokkan Fest exclusives, but yeah, the question about the LRs, if you want to see them, was there for a reason. So I expect some limits broken or limit breaker units in the future. Yep.
yeah, the fact that they still haven't done a proper Xeno, Goku, and Vegeta Super Saiyan 4 yet is they're either going to do them first and then do the limit breaker ones, or they'll do maybe. I mean, see, this is the thing. I don't want to expect that now because we didn't see it this time around. Because I was going to say either like a transformation or an active skill, which is one of the things if I had to like nitpick, I would say is the only thing that is a little bit disappointing about this banner is that no one had a transformation or an active skill.
yeah, I am very surprised that Vegeta doesn't have an active skill.
To go back on what Goresh was saying regarding having missed an opportunity to go crazy this year, there might be still a chance for them to do something more like with an LR or a Dokkan Fest, just because if you think about it this way, if they put all their eggs in one basket for the 10th year, while that would make sense and poetically it's like, the perfect time to do it, it also means there's really nothing to look forward to next year, and it wouldn't give fans a reason to speculate or look forward to or be curious about what's coming up next. Like if there's always one element missing in a production that comes back every single year, you're always like, okay, are they going to fix that mistake next year? Are they going to bring that in next year? I feel like that will kind of help further the longevity of the Dragon Ball Heroes collab phenomenon on Dokkan. I feel like that might actually still be a way for them to.
The only reason why I disagree with you is because in Heroes, there's literally infinite things that you can do. So like them doing a Dokkan Fest this year of like, I don't know, Limit Breaker, Super Saiyan 4, Goku, and Vegeta doesn't mean that next year they can't come back and do like a Dokkan Fest of like one of the 50 other really hype units in Heroes. So I get what you're saying, but I don't think like that's the limiting factor with that.
All right. Well, now let's move on to another portion of the Dragon Ball Heroes collab. We're still talking about it. This has pretty much dominated the whole week, so we got a lot of things to talk about. Let's talk about the new event. What is it called? Protecting the Time Patrol. Protect History Time Patrol. So this is basically a new event introduced in Dokkan. It's not Boss Rush or the Legendary Goku event or Dragon Ball History, but it is. But it's not. Who's actually participated in this, and how have you guys been handling it so far?
I was gonna say, I mean, it is Infinite Dragon Ball History. They're just
It's Infinite Dragon Ball History event. That's all it is.
Event for some reason, but I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's always good when we get one of those new stages. I thought it was cool that the map screen thing and the actual fight background was the location, like from Xenoverse. I thought that was cool. But yeah, it was a pretty standard Infinite Dragon Ball History type thing. Like, it's cool to get new ones of those, but like everybody knows the trick to them now. So like, you know, you just get your defensive stackers and off you go. So yeah, it was fun, but obviously very easy.
Yeah, the problem was pretty much that we didn't get a special mission, so we have to use a specific team, which might make it harder, but
yeah, that makes it more interesting for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it just had the turn. Wasn't it the turns or something like that? Like beating a certain amount of turns. That was about the only quote unquote
25
hard one. Yeah.
But 25 turns, that wasn't hard at all. So
yeah, no, it wasn't hard at all.
Is it really fair for us to either, you know, be down on Dokkan for not introducing a new event, or is it okay since this is mainly about the Heroes units and not really about introducing new mechanics? Because this is basically, like you said, Dragon Ball History, so it's not really something new. It's the same old stuff with a new fancy title. So is it really fair for us to be, you know, coming down on Dokkan for that, or do we just kind of run with it for this one?
Okay, so here's my thing. The fact that they made it a separate event, I initially thought there were going to be some like unique things, like they could have opened up 4 items or 6 items and make it super difficult in that regard. The other thing the notion was, if it was separate from Infinite Dragon Ball History, then it's going to have its own like additional stages down the line. So to me, that would indicate that there will be more Dragon Ball Hero stuff, because, you know, every major celebration they add something to the Infinite Dragon Ball History stage, right? So if they make it separate, it's like, well, they might just add more to it down the line. So it might not be just once a year, it might be 2, maybe 3 times a year, and that was kind of cool to me. But again, it's still a little off. That's all. So I don't know. It's just weird overall that it's the same, but it's different.
Anyone else have any thoughts?
I'm just wondering. I'm wondering why they even separated it from the Infinite Dragon Ball History mode. And the only reason why I can think of is because they wanted it to be an exclusive thing, sort of like how this Dokkan event is literally only available for this celebration, and then it's going away, I guess, until the next Hero celebration.
I mean, sorry, just a real quick thing. That also means probably we can't use keys then. So anyone, farm up those medals if you need them.
Yeah, for the Dokkan, everything. They're really leaning in hard on the whole temporary aspect.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, because obviously I don't know if it says that specifically, but because the Vegito event is going to go away, I'm assuming then this will go away, maybe?
Yeah, it has to be the case.
Has to be, yeah, probably.
So when you guys first learned about this new event, this new groundbreaking event that wasn't Boss Rush or Dragon Ball History or Legendary Goku event, what were some ideas that were running through your head? Basically, what were you expecting them to bring to the table? Something new? Was there a new mechanic that you were like, oh, are they actually going to do this finally? Was there something that you guys had in mind when you were looking forward to this whole thing?
Okay, I'll take this one.
Yeah,
okay,
I think
no, I don't really have anything to add. Just go ahead.
So I'm gonna be harsh here. When I saw that event and when I saw the missions, I was like, okay, this is the same stuff as usual. So I didn't expect anything. But in terms of new ideas, I would have loved that. Like for each round, there's a specific buff or nerf at random for my own team or for the enemy team. So that's like something I could throw in there, or maybe a survival mode, something like that. But I didn't expect anything out of this mode. I completely agree with Goresh. The only reason why this is separate is because this event is meant to be going away. So yeah, that's it.
Because didn't they? I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong, but when they mentioned it on the Dokkan Now thing, didn't they say that it was like Infinite Dragon Ball History and the Legendary Goku event? So
Yeah, they literally said it's literally the same thing.
yeah, because that was the first we'd heard of it. So in a way, like I didn't really have any expectations because as soon as we found out about it, they basically said what it was. So it is, whilst it's, I guess you could say it's weird that it's a separate event, but now that we've talked about it, I guess they've done it so that they can take it away. But yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't say like being down on Dokkan for it. Like I can see why, because I mean, if they just announced it was just an extra stage for Infinite Dragon Ball History, it still would have been the same level of, I don't want to say hype, but like expectation. Because like I said, it's always nice when we get a new stage. So the fact that they chose to make it a separate event, I suppose, doesn't really make much of a difference.
I guess it's also kind of the optics of it all, right? Like if they were to say it's another installment on your favorite event, Infinite Dragon Ball History, it's like, okay, it's just kind of an add-on. Whereas if it's its own exclusive thing, I guess there's more hype. There's more of a hype factor behind it, whether or not it's anything substantial. It just kind of by name makes it seem more appealing or more exclusive. So, you know what I'm more surprised at? I'm actually looking at the roster. I haven't done this event yet. Why did they not add any of the Super Saiyan 4s in here? Why is it all like the older units? What is there some story, like contextual background behind this?
I'm just assuming it's because it's all the Time Patrol people, but because none of the like Super Saiyan 4s that we got from this. I don't know all of the story of Heroes. I don't know. Goresh, I know, knows a fair bit, but like none of the Super Saiyan 4s we got on the new banner are technically part of the Time Patrol. I don't think. It's only like Trunks, Goten, and then Goku and Vegeta. So I thought
Xeno and Vegeta were. Goku and Vegeta were Time Patrol, weren't they?
Yeah,
So,
they are. So I guess technically Vegeta is sort of honorary member, I guess. But
a little odd.
I thought it was kind of cool that the first phase was the like base Cronoa, and then the final one was the awakened one. I thought that was cool.
It took her 8 turns to Digivolve. Yeah,
because I played because I played both Xenoverse games quite extensively, so that like aspect of the event I thought was cool. There was the location, and then it was primarily focused around like her and the Time Patrol. I thought that was cool.
Talon, have you finished all of the Heroes related events and summons and everything? Have you pretty much consumed all there is to consume on this entire campaign?
The only thing I have left to do is farm up that free-to-play card, that free-to-play tech card, whatever that
Salsa.
Salsa or whatever. Those drop rates are atrocious for me. They are just,
oh my god,
they are terrible. Even with a category to farm, it is but I guess technically the other thing to do is I'm currently recording like 7 videos about how they all work in like the different Super Battle Road stages. But so far I'm definitely impressed with the TOWA on Peppy Gals, which I think if you guys have done Extreme Super Battle Road Peppy Gals, it's pretty tough actually.
My girl's on Peppy Gals? Yeah.
Come on, you really thought she wasn't going to be on there?
I mean, never mind. I'm not going there. All right, so let's talk about the rest of the Heroes campaign, because there are a few things to be looking forward to, both on global and on JB, primarily on global though. For global, the Heroes celebration is basically assimilated into the Dokkan Thank You Celebration Part 2. So for global, we have a few other things to look forward to, as well as a brand new event that JP already had, which is the Awakened Power, a trial towards new horizons. So great, because we finally get skill orbs for Team Bardock, something we all desperately wanted and were begging for. So JP players, veterans of this event, what were your guys' experiences with this? And did you max it out and then upgrade your Team Bardock units immediately? I can't even finish the sentence without laughing.
Can you say that with a straight face, please?
No, I can't. What they just look, they back themselves into a corner. They don't know when to properly time things is all I can take away from this. Your guys' thoughts on that event, getting exclusive orbs for Team Bardock?
cool, I guess. I wasn't really hyped when it came to JP. I honestly did it for like, what did I do? I think I got the dupe of Bardock or something like that along with it, and I got a few orbs, but other
Yeah,
than that,
I think the most
that's
hype
about
part of this is the fact that the other dupe of Team Bardock is added to the
yeah,
game.
that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
literally
the
nothing else
issue
to do.
I have with it is that it's around the entire time, right? So it's around all the time. The downside is it's a free to play team, which is fine to be around all the time. So what I thought they would have done was make category exclusive stuff related to celebrations and have those consistently going around all the time. Like right now, does JP still have the Saiyan, the Giant Ape one, or is it done?
Yes.
I can't remember.
It's done. It just finished.
Okay, so like they need to have that for every celebration, like that is cool. But they don't do that for every celebration. You know what I mean? They only do it for like a couple of them. I think the last one was Universe 6.
Yep,
and then
Universe 6.
So, well, what happened to, where Tournament of Power for Frieza? Like they should have done one of those, or strictly Wicked Bloodline, or whatever, or Resurrected Warriors. Whatever the category the new Dokkan Fest leads should be having an exclusive once a day orb event for that category. Like that's what they should be doing. Because skill equips are still really very
Bad.
They're bad and they're rare, right? Like you could run chain battle all you want, get in the top 1% and get all of that and still get 5 dodge for everything, So to supplement that or to mitigate the RNG-ness of things, they could just do, hey, Giant Ape Power is getting these exclusive orbs, and then next, whenever Bojack comes out, whatever he's leading, could be Time Travelers, could be Target Goku, could be whatever. You tell, hey, these are exclusive orbs for that category too, and it's once a day, but that like helps mitigate the whole issue of skill equips, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, skill orbs have, for me and my experience with skill orbs, they haven't really been a focal point in my Dokkaning days. So yeah, but let me finish rounding out the rest of the campaign, and then feel free to just talk about whatever, and we'll kind of freeform it for a bit. For global, we're also getting Super Saiyan 3 Broly's EZA, something everybody wanted desperately after Super
Thank
17.
God.
We're so happy about that. We're also getting a couple new story. I mean, not new. We're getting some old story events coming back. We're getting a new easy area for Lord Slug. So Global will finally get to start working towards those EZAs. And that's also going to mean, I guess it's like a precursor for the Extreme Challenge campaign for the legendary Goku Prime Battle Super Saiyan guy. So that LR campaign is starting on Global, I guess is what they're trying to tell us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that means he actually is getting EZA, right?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
what I was going to say. I don't know if they did it on JP, but did they release them at the same time, like the last units that you needed EZA and then the actual event, or is it like Toon was saying, where it's kind of not like a teaser, but like a lead in to when it's going to come out?
No, I'm pretty sure they didn't do it at the same time, but I think
No, it wasn't the same time.
I think
we had time to prep. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that's what it seems like. It's like the legendary awakening campaign. It almost makes it sound like it's the build up to it. So like maybe all of those units, EZA areas, will be up like for that, and then however long that goes on for, even if it's only like a week or two, and then the awakening comes out. I don't know.
So then there's all of that for global, and then for JP, there's basically nothing other than the 10th anniversary collaboration Dokkan Battle Present campaign. Sunblade or Talon, Nolar, you guys know anything about that? Isn't that something to do with like real life presents?
Okay, so you're talking about those tickets, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically what it is, it's very similar to what they've done with other collab figures that they've done with other banners and other celebrations and everything on JP, where basically you can take the tickets, and then in the shop, I'll post something on Twitter about it because I know somebody's been hounding me about it already. But basically what you do is you put the tickets towards it, and then they do a raffle thing. And then basically if you win, they send you an email based on whatever your account is under. So let's say, for example, your JP iTunes email, they will send you an email asking for your address and everything. Of course, though, you have to actually live in Japan. So if you live abroad and you obviously have a JP account, then you cannot accept it. But if you want to, you can send it to me because I actually do live in Japan. So by all means, I'll take all the prizes. But please.
Also, just something else to clarify, because I know a million people are thinking about this and asking this. I've seen people ask this question a million times.
Oh boy.
The countdown on the JP banner, and the reason why Global does not have that countdown is because of those tickets. It's not because the banner is going away at the end of the countdown. The tickets are going away at that countdown. So don't think that Global or that JP is getting shafted out of the banner leaving before Global's does. It's not the case.
JP Shaft.
Yeah. JP Shaft.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for the campaigns. Your guys' thoughts on your respective campaigns, depending on what version you play. Is it enough? Is it not enough? Are you satisfied? Are you not satisfied? Do you care? What are your thoughts overall?
So Goresh laughed as well when you mentioned it, but like I do think it's kind of smart for them to have by dropping this at the same time on both versions, the hero stuff, they've like wrapped it into part 2, because let's be fair, let's pretend there is no hero stuff on Global. Like what is this part 2? Like it's basically nothing. So the fact that they're dropping it at the same time, it definitely makes it seem like a lot less disappointing, because it's in your mind, you're like, oh yeah, we got all of this stuff with like part 2, but really most of it is just the heroes.
You don't want to summon on the LR Trunks in my legendary summon banner?
I mean, yeah, getting another EZA is cool, but I mean, I feel like I speak on behalf of most people on Global in the sense that I'll do that Broly EZA and then use those 30 stones to summon on the heroes banner again. So yeah, I think like wrapping them in together is very smart, because this would definitely be, I mean, we see it happen all the time, but this would definitely be a celebration that would be getting complained about online if it was just what they've presented as part 2 without any heroes related stuff. So
yeah, and then to be fair, like I think the balance that they have right now with both campaigns running at the same time, like this is how much content we should have with just one campaign.
Yes.
Just some food for thought, I guess.
Yeah, because the heroes, one thing I will say about the hero stuff that I really enjoy, and I know like I guess the same excitement I think comes to players whether you make content or not, but I think for us it's exciting because like all of these units, they fit on so many different teams, they fit on so many different builds, like there's just so much stuff to do at the moment. Like I said, even if you don't make content, like the numerous new teams you can run and like events you can go into with all new builds of all these different things, like the new category is actually good. All the units work on like a whole bunch of other teams. It's just like there's just a lot of fun stuff to do at the moment, which is how we would want the game to be. So
something else we can quickly mention too, or talk about if you guys want to jump in, but the fact that we got this crossover category and how it completely invalidates the heroes category to the point where I don't even know why it exists in the game.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I think maybe what happened was they realized, oh, damn, like there's no reason to have this heroes category in the game at all. And then they just released the crossover category. So like, I think if the heroes category never existed up until this point, it would never exist because they just have this crossover category now, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the only reason why the heroes category is like still existing in the game is because a lot of these units that we're seeing, like I think Golden Cooler has this and like some other units have this too. In their passives, they require like, oh, you're running another heroes unit on rotation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So besides that, this category is literal, like it doesn't serve any purpose at all. So I mean, would anybody care if it was just deleted from the game?
Probably not.
If it didn't have, if characters didn't have that part of their passive where they needed other heroes units on the rotation or whatever to activate their full passive, like if it got deleted from the game, I literally wouldn't care.
What's funny is I'm trying to make a great 8-power team using only crossover as the lead. I'm 1 unit short, sadly. But yeah, I was trying to use the crossover lead instead of great 8-power to do that. There's just so much more to be gained from using that leader skill instead of heroes or whatever else. So
yeah, it seems like I don't know why they did this, because like we've seen with like Trunks and Goten and stuff that they've added characters to categories and stuff before. So it seems like the crossover category, I mean, I know there's some characters that you maybe wouldn't have put into it before, but the crossover category just essentially seems to be what we wanted the heroes category to be.
Yeah. Plus,
it's got the Xenoverse characters, it's got the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Broly, even though, like I say, they're not technically heroes characters, but they're in that same sort of like what if realm,
Yeah.
because they're quote unquote non-canon. So like the crossover is almost like Heroes version 2.
Yeah,
and
kind
so,
of. I
yeah,
mean,
it's kind of weird that they didn't just add some of the other ones, but
yeah, I mean, keep in
um,
mind that there's also the fusions units, and then there's also the
Hmm.
fighters, 16 and 21. I guess. Are
yeah, that's what I
technically
mean.
in
So
there as
some of
well.
them, I think that's probably why they didn't do that, because obviously they're branded specifically from a certain thing, so that putting them in the heroes category would obviously be very weird.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think I guess it almost seems like they kind of realized that they'd put that limitation on themselves, maybe by accident, and so yeah, just made a new category, which is what we would have wanted the category to be in the first place. Because literally the only thing I was thinking about, the same thing earlier. I'm sure we've all talked about it before, with the category kind of being invalidated. They're like literally the only thing you can even do now, and you would only do this for fun, like out of choice, is that you could run an extreme Dragon Ball Heroes team, and you'd have to use TOWA as the leader, and then you could use all extreme units because she has the heroes leader skill.
yeah,
But that's literally it. Like otherwise you just use Vegito, and then
yep.
the pool of
Yep.
units that you have available is incredibly good. So
And then this whole category being created right now sort of brings the fusions units back into like relevancy. So I
Mm.
guess technically something else we could be looking forward to is, okay, now that these units are sort of being brought back into the spotlight, like are we ever going to get awakenings for a lot of these units? Like Weirus doesn't have an awakening.
yeah,
Like a lot of these,
Kuga, Janembu.
Chow Man doesn't have an awakening. Like a lot of these units
Best
don't
card
have
in the game.
awakenings. So
Well,
at this point in time, like most of the regular banner units in the game, I would say like 90+% do have Dokkan awakenings.
mm,
And I think like if you take a look at the fusions units as a whole, like there's a big chunk of them that don't have awakenings, and they comprise a
yeah,
lot of why like it's not 100%, but it's 90%. So like I know the fusions games haven't really been relevant in a long time because there hasn't been an update, there hasn't been a sequel. But like I could see them eventually bringing back like the fusions collab event and being
mm,
like, okay, yeah, now we're going to Dokkan like these 4 units or whatever. So
yeah. Because I was thinking about it fairly recently, I guess, because the after the worldwide celebration, obviously the Margin Power category not only first came to global, but got the massive boost with having the release of the Bootanks. But like obviously his kit as it stands now is pretty terrible. But if they gave the Janembu an awakening, like that's a team that he'd be really solid on.
Yeah.
And then obviously Kuliza, we've got the Wicked Bloodline, Terrifying Conquerors, all that kind of stuff. Weirus, I mean, you know, Realm of Gods always needs more support.
More help for Realm of Gods,
yeah,
always.
yeah. So it definitely would be nice to go back, because it's one of those things that we all thought, as people who've been playing it for longer and were probably around when the fusions thing first came out. It's nice that they added them into the general pool, but it kind of adds that extra level of disappointment that there's these units that you can pull as your guaranteed SSR in a multi, and they don't even awaken, and they're so
Yeah.
old. I wouldn't like some. If you started playing within the last year or so, or year or two even, if you pull one of those fusions units that doesn't have an awakening, you probably never use them.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even
Amen.
Weirus, like you take a look at his like I guess his core of what he's doing. Like he was ridiculous when he first came out. I remember
Yep.
he was like LR Gohan's best linking partner, not because he linked it all, but because he created the double orbs. Like it was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
yeah, I remember that was a hilarious, like when he first came out, like so many you saw him on people using him on just like every team, even though he didn't even get a leader skill, because the double orb changing was so useful for so many units.
Yep.
Okay, so I've an interesting point here regarding the collab, and I tweeted about it, and I saw Ningen's tweet a couple of hours back. So what's
Oh, I think I
interesting?
know what this is.
That's very interesting for global. So yeah, both versions got the same treatment, and that gives the global players a big incentive to summon for the new Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So yeah, Ningen pretty much said like, "Oh yeah, now I really want the Gogeta." So yeah, Ningen, what do you think about that? What do you think about the upcoming Gogeta banner now?
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, whenever Gogeta comes to global, I would have been hyped for it, and I would have summoned for him, and obviously would have hoped to get a copy. Maybe not gone too crazy if the luck on the banner wasn't going my way. But yeah, with this now coming first, and obviously having pulled copies of all of the new Super Saiyan 4s, if you want to run the actual, what we would call the Super Saiyan 4 team, so, technically the Giant 8 power, but then you throw like the LR, Goku and Vegeta on there and all that stuff, we can do that, but you have to run Broly as the leader. And so because he only has the 130 leader skill, it does make some of the harder events a little bit more difficult. So now that we've got a unit who not only in and of himself is incredibly powerful, but has a 170% leader skill for these new Super Saiyan 4s that we just got. He's like massively jumped up in how hyped I am to summon for him. Because
wait, you know what's funny about that is on JP, the Gogeta releasing first, well, I guess it's just sort of like an order thing, but Gogeta releasing first sort of incentivized them to summon on the Heroes banner, whereas on Global, the Heroes banner coming out first incentivizes people to summon for Gogeta. So it's sort of like flipped, right?
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
Super Saiyan 4, possibly new meta. Do they run the joint now with the Gogeta leader skill?
What do you mean? Like they compare it with Realm of Gods? No.
Yeah. No? Do they come close?
No.
No.
I mean, the team
Yeah.
is insane. The crossover
team is
team
fun.
definitely is super fun, but
Well, the thing is, the crossover team is good, but it's not top tier. Like, it's not Realm of Gods. It's not, I guess Partari even now. You know what I mean? So, like, it's still really good, like an A tier, maybe A plus or S minus or whatever you want to call it. But the Giant 8 power, it's good. But the downside is, like, if you're gonna use those other units like Gohan and Bardock, you got to run the full gamut with Vegito, with Broly, because they need those extra what's it called? The 4 or more Giant 8 power units for Gohan, and then 4 or more crossover units for Bardock. Because I tried running an event with Bardock just on Giant 8 power, but not getting the extra 40%. Yeah, it was not good. So that's kind of the downside of the team, is that if you're gonna run all those units, you gotta run all those units in there, like all from the Dragon Ball Heroes, the crossover. You gotta put them all in there so that they can work cohesively. Otherwise, you're better off just running like actual giant apes in there, like TOWA as not TOWA, Tora as a support unit. Stuff like that is more conducive to the Super Saiyan 4 or the Giant 8 power category.
One day Super Saiyan 4s will have their time. That time is just not now.
I mean, the team is still good. They're just not the best.
Yeah.
They're very gimmicky.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
I also really like the fact that you have to have so many together. They act as their own supports. Kind of, because in other categories, you always have your designated support unit. This unit will be there for support. This unit will be there for support. But for these units, it's more like if you're just kind of running together as a crew, you support each other. You kind of back each other up. Kind of like an affiliate bonus. Like I know we've mentioned that before, having categories, the category meta end, and then do something more like affiliation. This kind of is like a precursor to that in a way.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could even make the argument that you're incentivized to run all these guys together just for the sole fact that they have Saiyan Roar, which is such a big deal.
Except Gogeta.
Yeah, exactly. But like that is because 25% attack and like what is it, 10% defense at link level 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so good that like you not having that link active with any of these units is like a major detriment to what they can do. Like Super Saiyan 4 Broly, take a look at all of his links level 10. I think he gets like 100% attack from all of his links at level 10. So that's one of the reasons why he's so good.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I think Vegito is such a good unit and why he works so well with that team. We've talked about this before on a much older episode, I think, but it's one of the things that I value quite highly in a leader for a category, and I think it's a perfect example of one of the reasons why people don't like the physical transforming Vegeta very much, is that when you have a leader who is essentially a support unit, it just opens up so many options for your team building. Because if you want, you can build your 2 main rotations to be completely different units, and then the 2 Vegito leads actually still benefit your rotations when they float into slot 3. It's like MVP 17 is a good example of that. Turles obviously was when he came out for movie bosses, and that was my example with the Vegeta. If you run a pure Saiyans team, but you don't want to run Vegeta on either of the main rotations, when he floats into that 3rd spot, he doesn't really do anything for your rotation, because
Yep.
the two units you've got together probably have their key links, and then he's got what, like Super Saiyan, they probably have that active already, so he's not really doing anything to help you out. So obviously categories where the leader is insanely powerful and you probably just want to run them on main rotation, it's not necessarily so bad, but it gives you much more of a creative option, because obviously with the crossover category having so many of these other characters and stuff in it, you could choose to run like very specific rotations, and then Vegito is just going to help out, as well as being a good enough unit to like hold things up at the back end. So
Yeah, I'm a
one of
huge
the
fan
things
of
I really like
how
about him.
I'm a huge fan of how this Vegito was designed. A lot of people are talking about like, oh, Broly is so impressive and stuff, but like Broly wouldn't be able to super like half the time if you didn't have Vegito on rotation, because Broly only has one key link. Right? I think it's prepared for battle, and that's it. So he still needs 4 key from the field to super. Whereas if Vegito's on rotation, he only needs 2, because he's on the crossover category, he's on the Giant 8 power category. So Vegito being there to help him makes him as good as he is, for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about it earlier, because they're both really, really good in their own way. But one of the things that obviously works really well is they're kind of, I guess, maybe by design, like they work best, especially on this team, when you have both of them and you just put them together. Because obviously you can run them with the other new Super Saiyan 4s if you want, but then they don't get fierce battle. And yeah, like they're just, if you have both of them, they're just perfect to run together. And then they like complement each other so well, because obviously Vegito makes sure Broly can super, he's giving him support, so he hits ridiculous attack stats. They're just really, really good as a rotation together.
All right, as much as we can continue talking about monkeys, we're gonna have to take a break for a little bit, because JP is getting some good news, I guess, if you're a fan of this unit. But the V-Jump news has officially released as of like a few days now, and the next TUR looks like it's going to be Bojack and Zangia. So, folks, just take it away. What are your thoughts on the new Bojack? I'm personally very happy. I love Bojack, and I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to JP being the guinea pigs and testing him out, so that I can ultimately have him. So, what are you guys' thoughts? JP, play us.
Okay, first off, can't you always say that though? JP just being the guinea pigs.
Yeah, I do. Oh, I do. I will not let the global shaft become a reality. It will only ever be a game.
All right, I gotta start off because I find it extremely funny. I had posted on Twitter that I was almost finished with my LR Bojacking all level 10 links. All I like to get is that stupid Hera link or whatever.
Heraclan,
Heraclan or whatever.
It's like the most important one.
I know, but it's level 9, and it's been that way for a month now, and it just will not go to level 10. So anyway, regardless though, I posted that and I was like, hey, Akatsuki, where's our dual Dokkan Fest Bojack and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan? Because we actually want a good Transforming Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. And then we get the V-Jump leaks about it. Unfortunately, Gohan's not included in it, but hey, I'm still excited for Bojack. I am definitely glad that he gets an active skill. He didn't get the Android 13 treatment, which is good. But I am I hope he's really good. I really hope he is. I obviously don't see many people summoning for him, because especially if you're a free-to-play player, obviously you know that we are going to be getting the New Year's banner at the end of December. So that means most people will skip this, because we get a dual Dokkan Fest at the end of December / beginning of January. And generally those are more hype, more, better cards and everything like that. And obviously Bojack is just a TUR. He'll come back, yada, yada. You've heard the excuses before, but I am excited to see what he can do. I hope I can get a copy of him, but I'm not going to go too deep. So that's just my personal thoughts.
I'm telling you guys right now, this scene's going to be busted. Just because it was link set. Like, you take a look at what he can do.
Yeah.
Big Bad Boss is Heraclan. Like, what else do you have? Like Galactic Warriors, like
Warriors, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are all crazy links. So he doesn't even have to do much. He could literally have like 100% attack and defense, and he's instantly going to be busted. Like, that's all he needs. He doesn't really need to do anything. Yep. Like, just the fact, like, Bojack units, as long as you have them linked up with other Bojack units, and I assume Zangia coming out is also going to have a lot of these links as well, which is why they're doing that.
Yeah.
But like Big Bad Bosses with the LR, Zangia has Fierce Battle. They both have Heraclan. They both have Galactic Warriors. Like, those 4 links by themselves are going to boost his attack to like 100% or something stupid.
Yep.
So, I mean, just watch out.
And yeah, we've seen like the power level of some of these last like Dokkan Fest TURs. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a little nuts. Bojack. Okay, so what I want to do is compare it to last year. So last year we got, what was it? Android 13 at this time, right?
Yeah,
my,
So it
my
seems-
favorite unit.
Yeah, so it
Hey
seems
man,
like
those are my two favorite movie bosses. Actually, that's awesome.
yeah, well, the end of November, beginning of December, Dokkan Fest for JP is pretty much like an extreme movie boss or just an extreme unit itself. Which then for Android 13, 2 weeks later, we got the amazing LR Spirit Bomb Absorb Super Saiyan Blue not Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Goku. So, and that was the double rates banner too, right? So, if you look at that, and then on top of that, Android 13 got that story event, right? So I'm expecting another story event with Bojack, but this time we can get you can farm up Zangia's SA, and then probably like Bujin or some of those other units in his clan. You know what I mean? So we can get a full team going that way. So I'm kind of excited because I think this is going to be pretty good. It's obviously, like what Talon said, a lot of people are going to skip this one because the Dual Dokkan Fest for New Year's is going to be right after, and then then we're off to the races to anniversary. So a lot of people probably will skip him, but I think Grush is right. He's going to be busted. Linking with himself, the LR version, and then it's just stupid because I'm also expecting one of his other units to get an EZA, probably the AGL full power one. But it could be like another, just like maybe even the Baba Shop unit could get an EZA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, keep
Yep.
in mind
Mhm.
the full power Bojack name is still not taken because we have this one who's just Bojack, like normal Bojack. We have the
Yeah,
LR
true.
who's Bojack and like the Hera clan or
Yeah,
whatever.
Clan. Yeah.
And then like we have like the AGL one, like you said, but like he's not good. So what they could honestly just release an LR full power Bojack and he would be like ridiculous. And his axe could be like a buff or something like how Turles's was.
Oh god, that'd be. Oh god,
So that slot is still open. So yeah, I mean, like an EZA for a full power Bojack that exists, like the AGL one or the STR one, to make them like absolutely ridiculous. Maybe a support type unit or something like that. That could be really powerful. And then the one thing I'm also going to say is I'm very excited for another story event that's not going to ever return, so we can never awaken our units.
Yep.
I can tell you one thing. One of the first teams I ever wanted to assemble when I started Dokkan, some of you already know this, was the Hera clan. And every time I just randomly think of the idea to assemble that team, I'm immediately disappointed seeing how crappy the units are. Like we've got an R Bujin, R Beto, those types of terrible units. So with this Bojack, like you said, Garesh, it does bolster the Hera clan as a whole, but there isn't really much to begin with. So if you were to assemble the best of the best from the Hera clan as of right now, you'd probably have, assuming this guy's a part of it, you'd probably have what, 4, 5 if you wailed out and had a TUR of the. Oh wait, no, you couldn't use the TUR. Yeah, you probably only have 4 at most Hera clan units that are viable, actually decent units. So, do you think that we'll be seeing some sort of Hera clan support immediately or sometime soon, or is this going to be a long-term buildup?
Maybe the dual Dokkan Fest for New Year's is Bujin and Beto.
Oh, I definitely summon on that. That's marketing 101 right there.
I mean, I could see what like Nalar was saying because it's the same kind of timing, and that's what they did for 13. I could easily see like a story event that comes out along the same side as him, having like a farmable, I guess Beto and Bujin.
Yeah,
because then you'd have who else is there? I guess Gokua has that SR that awakens.
Please don't make me put STR orbs into Gokua, please.
Yeah, so, I mean, doesn't he have, because he's an SR that just awakens to a UR, so he can still get a TUR awakening, right? So they could do that.
He could. Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, for the team that you want to build, like the quote unquote Bojack team, you only need 4 because you're going to have floaters, and they don't necessarily have to be part of that because, I don't know, like, they're all going to be on Terrifying Conqueror, so you just throw Cooler on there. Like, he's good. Then you throw, I don't know, the AGL Turles, he's good. And then whatever other unit, maybe the STR Turles. I mean, they're all going to be on the Terrifying Conquerors category. Maybe you even just run 2 STR Turles leads, and then you just throw all the Bojacks as main rotation units, and that's your team.
Make a new category. Problem solved.
I mean, let's be real. They're probably going to do that. Okay, what do you guys think? What do you guys think the leader skill is going to be?
Super guys.
Yeah, super guy in the galaxy.
Super guys.
Best name ever.
Yes.
So I think. Okay.
Yeah, no, go on. I've spoken
So
quite a bit.
I thought about that he might get the Angel Freezer treatment, and then he will be a Key +4 150% Terrifying Conquerors leader. That's the only thing that would make sense to me.
Also, Time Travelers.
Yeah, I was gonna say Time Travelers is the big one
Yeah.
because we still need a
Time Travelers
170
needs
leader
it.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the only two leaders really is Goku Black, who no one really likes to use, and then Trunks and Mai, who are okay, I guess, but their leader skill is obviously quite low. Like we really want a 170 lead for Time Travelers.
Yeah.
Planet dwellers.
Keep in
I mean,
mind,
I've
Time
seen-
Travelers also is going to get a huge buff with all the hero cards and everything.
Yeah.
So-
Let's not forget the damn, I can't remember the name in English. The diabolical villains category.
Inhuman deeds.
Oh,
Yeah, Inhuman. Don't forget
Oh,
that one
God,
because we technically don't even have a real leader for that category. Like,
true.
the only leader we have is the Vegeta and Nappa, and they're 130
Nappa,
P4.
yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Can
Yep.
you imagine if a super attack animation is literally an inhuman deed, where you just like use someone as cover and then
Shield.
just blast through them?
you mean
Well,
like how
that's-
Bojack did that to Zangia? And
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna say
literally
we
exactly
talked
what
about
happened?
that. Hopefully, that's his active skill for just
Would that? I
blasting
mean,
and
would that be
transforms.
too much though for a Dokkan game? Because like
No.
they're not going to show a disarmed Gohan, right?
Vegeta literally blasted Nappa into a meatball on his active skill. or exchange, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be for Time Travelers and probably Diabolical Villains. It's going to be his two leads, which is good because we need a Diabolical Villains and Time Travelers needs a better 170 lead. But
So you don't think there's going to be a new category?
I mean, I would have said so, but look at Frieza, right? They just gave him the category lead for two other categories that existed, so there's precedent there. So
yeah, I don't know. 1 for 27 million isn't really good odds.
well, I mean, the thing is, what else could it be? What could the new one be? Could it be just a strictly Era Clan and be like 200% because there's only like 5 units in there? Like,
Yes,
what else?
that is a good category. As stupid as it may sound, that is a good category. You know that.
Awkward silence here.
No, I was just like,
Well, so I thought the only way we could ever see something like that, since obviously we were waiting so long to actually see a new Bojack card, is when we were speculating about whether they were going to do another thing like the free-to-play Ginyu Force, which they then obviously did with the Team Bardock. I could see them doing something like that for the like Hera clan units, but other than that, I don't really see something like that happening.
Wouldn't mind
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but I don't know.
So before we wrap this up, one last question I want to ask you guys. After Bojack and Gohan, which is like, this iconic dynamic duo, what would be the next logical dynamic duo that you would want to see Dokkan pursue in terms of new TURs, new Dokkan Festival units? What would
Oh
be
my
the
god,
next one?
please, Saiyan Saga Goku and Vegeta. Please.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I want.
that and Goku and Mud Jr.
Mm.
Yeah, Saiyan Saga is what I'm hoping for because like that's what got me into Dragon Ball Z, and I want that representation in the game.
You mean you don't want to see
maybe
him
they
as
are just
Vegeta?
saving it for
New Year's?
New Year's, yeah.
That would make sense to me.
Dude, if they released a Mud Jr. and Goku from the World Tournament, instant top grossing. I'm telling you right now.
I mean, when are they eventually going to do that? Because like they have to go back at some point and get these older arcs in there. When is like a realistic possibility for them to actually just jump at that opportunity and do that?
I honestly think they're waiting for some like super hype thing to happen, like maybe like a really dry period, because that I feel like is an ace in the hole they've just been saving.
Mm.
Because keep in mind, it took them 4 years to release a Dokkan Fest Kid Goku, and when they finally released him, he was like the best selling unit ever.
And it
So-
was right after the anniversary, and it still did very well. So
Yeah, it was like an hour from the banner's release, and then it was like, oh, top grossing.
Damn.
All right.
Yeah.
So with that, do you have any final thoughts, Nolar?
No. I'm just saying there's when you said like when they could release it, Goresh is just saying it's ace in the hole. I mean, dual Dokkan Fest, right? That's what it screams to me. So our dual Dokkan Fest are either anniversary, which it won't be for 6 year, Golden Week, possibly, or Worldwide Celebration, right?
Or New Year's, yeah.
And then New Year's, yeah. As much as I want it to be New Year's, I don't think it'll be New Year's. Because if they really want to capitalize on the hype, it'll be probably download celebration, at least in my opinion. Because that's when everyone together at the same time, global JP, that's where they'll hit top grossing in multiple countries and JP at the same time, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Alrighty, with that, we are going to wrap up the first part of the show, but don't go anywhere because we are going to be answering your Twitter questions coming up next, right after this break. We'll be right back. Alrighty, and we are back. Folks, a couple of days before the show, we like to send out a tweet on Twitter and asking you guys to post your questions. We take a look, and when we get the show started, we answer a couple of those questions. So we'll be looking through them right now, starting with Ryan, who asks, what's a new unit you would personally be looking forward to, and what unique passive super attack effect would you want it to have?
Huh. Okay. Well, I want the what we said, Saiyan Saga, Goku, Vegeta. I want Vegeta to have an active skill that will make people transform. So, but of course, it'll be limited. I guess 3-4 turns or something like that. So he has an active skill, makes a giant ball energy similar to the moon, and then just transforms. Well, then forces anybody else on that rotation to transform. So that's something I personally want to see.
How can you imagine how long of a transformation sequence that would be? That would kill you on a Super Battle Road race.
This is true. This is true.
Anybody else?
So in terms of, I guess, picking something that I think is more within the realms of what could actually happen, because for me it would probably be some heroes related thing or whatever, but something that I do want to see that I think we could get at some point is we need a new version of Super 17, but obviously not to replace the Easy A one we have. So I think we've even talked about it before on here, but having a unit that is either Hellfighter 17, or it could just be Hellfighter 17 and 17 GT, and then they transform into Super 17.
That would also be the first, Extreme Fusion? We could have like an Extreme Fusion lead with that.
Well, I'm sure they would still keep it like the normal Super 17 and not put them on there for some reason. Although I'm sure he'd get Fused Fire once he transforms. And then, hey, maybe they could give him big bad bosses. But, wouldn't that be nice?
I have a.
But then I
have
guess
a
they
good
didn't
one.
give the new Gogeta Saiyan Raw, so probably not.
I have a good one that I've mentioned a couple times. I'm pretty sure Goresh would like this. Transforming launch that doesn't just permanently transform to the blonde launch, but literally transforms every other turn back and forth. Because that's how she works. So having something to do with that, maybe giving one a super type, one an extreme type, anything like that, I think would be a fun mechanic to introduce.
The one I would probably pick would be Ma Junior, like we were talking about earlier. And the two things I want him to have is, number one, an active skill that triggers a giant transformation, and then he has like some special thing in there. And then the second thing would be a super attack, a beam-based super attack counter with like the Mafuba reverse that he does against Kami.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we still have no extreme counter units, right? In any kind in the game. So
yeah, that's true.
Anybody else? All right.
I would have said Bojack, but we're getting one, so
Your wish.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
my wish has been granted.
All right, let's move on to the next question, brought to us by Ant. Ant asks, with Vegito's Dokkan event not being permanent, do you guys think we will ever see a real Dokkan Fest exclusive heroes unit? The 10th anniversary was the best time to do it, and they didn't do it fully, which worries me a bit. Love the podcast.
Okay, I'm going to go first here. And I'm just going to repeat what Goresh said in the past. I don't expect a Dokkan Fest exclusive heroes unit ever. I think the best shot would be like a regular LR, Limits Broken, or Limit Breaker unit. For me personally, but I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, my confidence definitely has gone down since this celebration started. Because again, I thought this was the best opportunity for them to release a Dokkan Fest exclusive or an LR. So I think maybe my percentage-wise, I'd probably give it like a 40% chance to happen instead of like a 60% chance I had prior to this celebration.
I don't think we're ever going to get a Dokkan Fest exclusive hero unit. Again, like I mentioned earlier, when you put them in that pool, that means that you're going to have to open up the exclusivity of it. And it seems like they want to keep it that way, like once a year or twice a year. That's the only time you can get these units, and that's it. The best we could hope for is probably like a Prime Battle LR. Whatever we want to do, that's like a farmable unit that everyone could get. So that's probably the best we could hope for.
Party poopers.
Yeah, because it definitely seems like, obviously, as we've said, like leading up to the hype, even when we were speculating about, like the idea of it being on both versions and stuff, is that this would have been the time to do it. And so the fact that they didn't, I'm in the same boat as Goresh. Obviously, on the previous podcast episode, when we talked about it coming to global, we were quite excited because this was the year that they could literally do anything they wanted. And so since they didn't, it could still happen next time, but it's not going to be, it's not the same level hype event next time. So, but then again, I guess like Toon said, maybe they're saving it to make the next one as hype as the 10th anniversary. Who knows?
I haven't heard anybody talk about this yet, but just something that popped into my head. Do you guys think that because they did the same time for Heroes this year, that's going to be a recurring thing for the following times?
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
If they're going to make the thank you celebration so lackluster, they might as well.
If they do, though, wouldn't it? Then they really have to start like thinking about how to improve that, because if they did start doing something like that, we'd get the units that are now 6 months old from JP, and everyone would just be like, "No, I'm good. I'll wait till part 2 for the Heroes banner."
Yeah.
Well, okay, because we were talking last podcast about like the fact that the current thank you celebration just like doesn't work anymore, right? The current scheduling.
Exactly.
I mean, this would be a decent way to like sort of put a band-aid on that in a way. So
just take out the whole make us wait till November for those particular units. Have them come back after a couple of months, like every other Dokkan Fest, and then make November Heroes time.
All right, let's move on to the next question, brought to us by Banana asks, what mechanics/modes would you like to see implemented as the game moves forward? Personally, I would really like to see a guild and raid system of sorts being added, sort of like Grand Cross. I feel like it would help add more diversity to the game and add value to niche units.
Yeah. Okay, so a raid would be cool, or more, not really a raid, but like a world boss, kind of what, ironically, I'm going to say this, what Legends does. We can do as well. I know. Like that would be pretty cool. Guilds, yeah, I don't know, because the problem with guilds is you're always going to then have like, you're going to really accelerate the burnout, I feel, because like some people go super hard in guilds and then no, you're not, you don't have enough rainbows, so you're not welcome. It just kind of diversifies not diversifies, but divides, I should say, the player base a little bit, because you're gonna have separate ones like, oh, okay, I want a casual guild, I want a hardcore guild, and then the question then becomes, what kind of content? If you have a guild, what's the purpose of it? Like, you don't leave it dead like Legends does. You need to have like, is there a leaderboard? And then if there's competition in that way, it's like some people are gonna get burnt out from that. So, I mean, as much as I like guilds because I think it's cool, it could lead to accelerating the player base to be done with the game, and that's kind of the downside of it. But world bosses, raids, I guess in that regard, that would be pretty cool. I think that's going to be interesting. Just depends on how they implement it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the world boss kind of thing, the way that Grand Cross does it, is the best kind of co-op thing for something like Dokkan, because it's not having to create a whole new game mode. It's just the idea that from your perspective, it's still just the single player game. But then at the end of like each people taking their turn, like the overall massive like health bar goes down. I feel like that's something they could get to work in Dokkan without having to like fully design a whole new way that it gets played. But then, yeah, it does kind of come down to, it's cool to have it in there like a guild type thing, but then what is the point of it? Like, what does it do? It has to have like some interesting features, not just be in there, because otherwise it's just a glorified like second friend list essentially.
You should just add card warriors to this game.
I mean, what if their implement to fix the friend system was like, you just gotta join a guild, and then in that guild you could use like 5 of your friends leads instead of just your one random friend. You know what I mean? I mean,
Whales will
YouTuber-
group up with whales. Minnows will group up with minnows.
God,
It
yeah,
will-
the thing I just thought of wasn't it? I think, was it Legends when they first had the thing about like guilds, and Rhyme, I don't even know if he was joking, made that tweet about all the YouTubers should just make one together, and then everyone started kicking off about how like unfair that would be because
Well,
it
yeah.
would be
Well, okay.
guilds
Well,
full of whales and stuff. Like,
well, guess what? We have that guild right now, and guess what? We're not like all stars or anything. So
we're not
No,
top
we don't do
tier.
anything.
We're probably the laziest people. in
we
the
don't even,
game,
we don't
to be
even have
honest.
we don't even have a full roster. We're missing like 5 people. Like we don't even care. Like it's just the most laid back thing ever. Like the whole purpose of us creating that was just to have fun and like not worry about anything. And
yeah,
people got so upset about it. When in reality, we're like top like 2,000 or something. It's like not even.
but yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty
Are
cool
we
to have
we're
a
bronze logo? Like we're not even a gold or a silver or
Yeah,
gold or
nobody
anything
really,
like that.
nobody like it's not meant to be like a hardcore thing. Like we just do it
Yeah.
for fun.
like it'd be kind of cool to have like a 59 gaming guild or something in the game, but like I said, unless they're doing something specific and interesting with it, then there's no
There's
point
no
to have
purpose
it.
to it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Brought to us by Holiday Steve. Holiday Steve is also a Chiefs fan, by the way. Holiday Steve asks, the crossover category is so well made. What are some other categories you guys think deserve this kind of treatment, including cards that should be there, some that might not fully make the cut but qualify? What do you guys think?
Okay, so I'll take this one first. And Ningen and me talked a lot about this. And yeah, we are on the Hero Celebration right now, and the Brolys aren't on full power. The Super Saiyan 4 Broly isn't on full power, and that doesn't make sense to me. So,
Well, I can explain that to you. There's a full power version of that Broly.
Yep.
Oh, good. Yeah.
okay, so what about Super Saiyan 3 Broly or the legendary Super Saiyan Broly? Like, yeah.
Well,
None
I
of the
just-
Brolys is on there. So,
Wait. You mean because Legendary Super Saiyan Broly is on there, right? Like the STR
Yeah.
one.
okay,
and the-
okay, then.
Yeah, I think the main standout one, obviously, without like the full, I knew that there was a full power Super Saiyan 4 Broly, but the Super Saiyan 3 one was the one that stood out to me as being a weird. I can't even think of the right word now, but being left off because
Mhm.
he is technically the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, but then gone up to Super Saiyan 3. So if the legendary Super Saiyan Broly is on full power, how is him then not getting an extra transformation? Like, why is he not on full power? Because obviously it's kind of relevant because he's getting his EZA for global, but like one of his biggest drawbacks is he's just on no teams.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree he should be on there, but I think the reason why he's not is because it has to do with the continuity that they're from.
Yeah.
So like the reason why the STR LR Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, is on full power while like Super Saiyan 4 is not, is because the LR Broly is in a continuity where that is his full power. Whereas the Super Saiyan 4 Broly from Heroes is not on there because that's not his full power. He has another step up beyond that. So yeah, but I mean, the Super Saiyan 3 Broly has always been sort of like an enigma because like we don't even like what is he from? He's from like this weird arcade game.
Raging Blast, isn't it?
Well, yeah, originally, he is from Raging Blast, yeah. But like, I don't know. I feel like they should have just included him anyway. But like in the Raging Blast continuity, that was his full power. I think so. I don't know.
I think so, yeah, because it was like the first thing he was introduced in, so he didn't go obviously up any higher than that. But,
yeah.
But yeah, the crossover category is just like this is what we wanted, right? Like how many times have we all talked about how bad some of the original categories have been, and then they gave us one that was basically what we would have expected. I can't think off the top of my head of anyone that stands out as not being on there who should be, which is one of the things you kind of always notice when they bring out these new categories.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like these again. It all comes down to like the subjective names, like full power. Like, how do you know that some of these characters are full power? Like, you just you have to guess, right? It's just, there's no way you can actually know. So
Yeah.
like, who's to say that LR Krillin from the Saiyan saga is as full power? He's on the category, so they have to assume that. But like, how do you actually know? You just have to guess.
I guess it's a weird. Actually, yeah, that kind of makes it incredibly confusing though, because like you were saying, the explanation for the Broly's, like it being their full power at the time, like technically, then isn't that almost every character? Like, for example, a TN from the Saiyan saga, that was him at his full power at that point in the Saiyan saga.
Yeah.
So some of them are just way too like
Arbitrary.
vague. Yeah.
Yeah.
It always
Yeah.
makes
The
me
problem
happy
is
when people talk about bad categories.
But yeah,
I
they've
think- I
shown
think
us
what-
now. They've done a good one, so do more like this.
Exactly. I think what Tune always says is the category should always be fairly cut and dry. Like you're in it, whatever. And then the reason why some of them are kind of incomplete is because you can make a judgment call. But to me, if you can make an argument, just throw them in there anyways. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt to have more units in a category as opposed to leaving them out. So that's kind of the downside of Dokkan right now, is they're just being very arbitrary with their rules and their selection process that it just pisses us off.
Yeah, I mean, here's a good example. Physical Kaioken Goku from the Namek saga, the 20 times Kaioken Goku is on the full power category, when literally minutes later he goes Super Saiyan. So
Yeah, exactly.
As much as I'd love to continue bashing on bad categories, we're going to have to move on, sadly. So let's move on to the next question, brought to us by Philip. Philip asks, the overall satisfaction with the Heroes event seems pretty high. What are some omissions that made you sad, if any? And is there anything that could be improved upon even more for next year?
easy.
Okay, I was gonna say this.
Yeah.
Adult Gotenks Super Saiyan 3 needed an easy A. That's it.
Dude, he needed one yesteryear.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but just to reiterate, since it's literally the answer to this question, I was a little bit sad that we didn't get any transformations or active skills for the new units.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, every single Heroes card is voiced, like in the actual Heroes game.
Mm.
So they could have just like, I know the quality wouldn't have been great, but they could have just like ripped a lot of the voices from there and just like input them into like these cards or something if they want to do active skills. It's not hard.
Hydros, let's get that going, buddy. Come on. You and me. We got this. All right. Moving on to the next question, brought to us by Zen Game. Zen Game asks, if you were to build the EZA for Prime Battle LR Trunks, Trunks, what would his kit be, and what existing units could receive an EZA in order to take him on? Just speculation, of course. This is a good question.
Well, I think-
I
I think-
mean, they're gonna
his
have to take
thing up in front
a
of me, rather
EZA
than
from
what he
the Baba shop, right?
I could.
Yeah, but what Baba Shop unit would work? Probably a tech. What's a tech unit from the Baba Shop?
Tech
Krillin.
Vegeta?
Bojack.
Yeah, the Tech
Bojack?
Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta.
Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta.
Yeah.
Well, what about the Krillin, the support one with the Piccolo clothes on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
he's
right.
Baba Shop
They
with the
haven't.
biome,
They
but yeah.
haven't. They wouldn't dare step into that realm yet. They're not ready for that. The
I mean,
Baba
that is
units,
something they do need to do.
They
wish
need to
they
do
would
it.
do it.
They need to do it, but they would not dare do that yet.
What about well,
Oh,
I mean, just
the Bojack. The Bojack is also in the Baba shop. He's a tech guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
are you
That's right.
talking about the base one? Yeah.
Yeah, the base one.
So just going back to just Trunks as a unit, like his whole gimmick when he first came out was to be a unit that shines when there's multiple enemies there, right?
Yeah.
So I think you just build him around that factor. Like whenever there's like let's say maybe there's, I don't know, whenever there's 2 or more enemies, he has this. 3 more enemies, he gets an additional something. Whenever there's 4 or more, he gets even more. So I think you just build on that idea, and then that's like what he specializes in doing. I think that's what you do for him.
Mm. And then, yeah, obviously, like we've seen, they've done these with most of the LRs lately. Like even just by changing like his flat boosts to like percentages, obviously immediately accelerates him back like higher up in his output.
Also, are they gonna require the LR Frieza EZA for this one?
Oh, I
he's
bet you
weak.
they will.
He's
Yeah.
weak to Trunks.
I bet
Yeah.
you they
Well,
will.
I mean, that Krillin, right? For the Frieza, you need that strength Krillin. and if he doesn't get that passive off, you're dead. Like that's it's just how it is. So same concept here, more or less applies for Frieza against Trunks if they continue that concept. I mean, they also need a free like a Krillin unit, right? Like a free unit itself. Wait, no, that was He's Shop, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know, man. It just seems so arbitrary whenever they EZA for those free units or random units, and then just like, oh yeah, you just need these. So I don't know.
Dude, I'm so excited for Cell when Cell gets his EZA. Oh.
I already got him
Isn't he the
level
last
10
one?
links. He's pretty good right now.
Because
Oh,
that would
yeah.
be a good one for if they are going to do a barbershop.
Oh, no, he's
unit
not the last
every
one.
time.
Krillin's the last one.
That's when you do the Vegeta, I guess.
All right, and we will now move on to the final question brought to us by Plady. Plady asks, many agree that it's unhealthy for the heroes units to stay limited to the annual banner. Do you think they will be included in the general SSR pool anytime soon?
No.
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 I mean, because I think whenever because once upon a time the fusions units were not part of the general pool.
Yeah.
And I remember when they first added them or they were planning on doing it, they said in the news specifically, like, in the near future, or I think they used the word soon. They were like, soon, the fusions units are going to be added to the general pool. And then, like, that's very obvious, and they announced that ahead of time. So the fact that they're not doing that with the heroes units tells me that they're probably not doing that anytime soon, at least this year.
Yeah, I mean, what also gives more credence to that is the fact that if, like I said, if they made it Dokkan Fest exclusive with Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, then he would have to be added to the pool. So then it kind of forces them to put all the other hero units in the general pool. You know what I mean? So, I think they just strictly want to keep it limited to this collab, and it kind of works because everyone's like they get FOMO. They don't want to miss out on some of these great units. Again, they're not necessary for you to like have great teams. They're just fun, and these are just like what if units. So at the same time, it's kind of like, look here, once like for 2 to 3 weeks out of the year, these are some fun units. You better save up or spend that money and then go get these units.
Yeah, like I said, I think if they made it like twice a year, that would definitely be better. I mean, even if it was something like they don't necessarily release loads of new stuff, but even just bringing back the previous banner like sooner would be good. Because we were saying earlier, I guess, when we were talking about the category itself, but like it would be weird if they put them into the general pool. Now, obviously, it's complete RNG. We've all had those summon videos where you randomly pull like the same fusion unit twice in a couple of multis. But sometimes they're like few and far between. So could you imagine if like you pull on a random banner and after your summon session for whatever the new Dokkan Fest unit is, you happen to pull one copy of, say, Tech Golden Cooler, who has in his passive, you have to have multiple other heroes units on your team. Then you're not going to use them.
That's true. Yeah.
So obviously it would be nice if they were in there for like the purposes of, people who want to pick up ones they don't have or like fill out dupes and stuff. But like just putting them into the pool, like there's a lot of people that would then potentially end up pulling them and not really being able to use them. Because obviously the unfeatured pool is massive as it is anyway. So you could go few and far between like ever seeing them anyway. So I think personally, as much as I want them to come back more often, like to keep it hype and to keep them like, making the units all still good, like at the time they come out, just make the banner come around a little bit more often, even if it is like every 6 months instead of every year. It's still quite a long time, but obviously, like Nalar said, you could imagine one of the main reasons they do it is because people know. And this is what we said at the beginning. Like, I went back in on the banner because the idea of only having one dupe in Vegito for a whole year was just not something that I was willing to put up with. So, and they know people will do that. So,
I mean, just to hammer on your point, that's a very good point you made. Was if you pull a Super Saiyan 4 Broly, cool, but unless you pull the other Giant Ape power units, you can't really use him to his full potential. You know what I mean? Or more importantly, like Bardock, right? He needs crossover units. So yeah, you pull a Bardock, but you didn't get any more extra crossover units, then you're not really going to be able to use him to his full potential. So keeping them, because they put these restrictive passives, like you got to have X amount of units, like either Dragon Ball Heroes, crossover, Giant Power, whatever it is, that is better to keep it confined to this banner. Therefore people will like be able to use the units, or they'll be like, well, I'm missing one, I might as well go back in on the banner, potentially get it. Kind of exactly what you were saying, Ningen. Like, I don't want to have no dupes in my Vegito, I want more dupes. So again, it's the FOMO. Everyone's just like, I need to have these units or whatever. They're just capitalizing on it. As much as it sucks, like I would like to have it year round, it kind of makes more sense to keep it limited like this. But again, to your point, Ningen, would like to have it twice a year at the very least.
Any final thoughts?
I think you guys said it all.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we are going to be wrapping up this week's show, folks. So thank you for all of the questions. Make sure to submit your questions on our next Twitter announcement a couple of days before next week's show. And with that, we're going to be wrapping up. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Huge thank you to Naz Darachi for manning the boards for this week. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Also, fun fact, Naz's favorite car in Mario Kart is the McLaren.
Yeah.
Don't forget to follow us over on Twitch, Twitter, Discord, joining the new Facebook, join the new Reddit, do all that good stuff. Stay in touch, lock into the 59G network. And don't worry if you miss any part of the show. All of your favorite podcasting platforms have you covered. Google, Apple, Spotify, many more. So make sure, subscribe and don't skip a beat. Join us right here tomorrow for our next episode of the Dragon Ball Legends podcast. For Talon, Mas Ningen, Goresh, Nolar, and Sunblade, I am Toon Rami. Thank you once again for watching. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.
All right, we're raiding my buddy Jake the Viking because he's running a cancer support stream. So go check him out. Tell him 59 Gaming sent y'all. Show some support, some love, and we would really appreciate that. We'll see you on the next one, y'all. Peace out.
Raid responsibly.
Raid responsibly.